Good morning. It's always a pleasure to come back to your hometown, come back to Tuscaloosa, and to ride through the streets of town. And I said, it's kind of dead this morning. I guess everybody's at the mitigation conference. But it is always good to be back home. But now, all of Alabama is my home. And all of you are my friends, and all of you are my neighbors, and all of you are my patients. And it has been a true honor and a true pleasure for me to have been selected to be the governor of the great state of that I serve here in Alabama. We thought as we went into this period of time in our life that we were going into the worst economic disaster that the state had ever faced, and we did. And our budgets have proven that. But we've dealt with those. Some of you are here today, some of you legislators. I see a few legislators here today. We have dealt with those problems. We don't have enough money, but you know what? We spend what we have. And that's what we have to do in Alabama. So we thought that was going to be the greatest challenge that we were going to face. But on the 100th day, we had the greatest natural disaster that's ever been recorded in the state's history. Now, we may have had greater disasters, we just didn't record them. But this has been the greatest natural disaster that this state has ever faced. 48 days ago, more than 65% of Alabama experienced one of the worst disasters that we have ever had. And I tell people in South Alabama, if you have not seen the devastation that has affected this state, you need to see some of the areas. And those of you who have lived through it, those of you who have worked in that area, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But people who have not seen it don't understand it. That 6,400 square miles of Alabama were virtually destroyed. That's a lot of miles. That's more than a couple of the smaller states up in the Northeast. 241 people have been killed. And you know what? That's the #1 issue right there. We can rebuild houses, we can rebuild roads and schools, we just cannot bring those people back to life. And so it's always most important that we think about those lives that have been lost in this state. And we need to care about and be concerned about the people that have been injured, as well as losing the lives of those loved ones around them. More than 2,000 people were severely injured. Some, since the tornado, have since died. And some, even at the present time, are still in very serious and critical condition. I personally have traveled to 27 counties. I started the first day after the tornadoes, went to Coleman. That's the first place I visited. And we went to Coleman that day, and since that time we have traveled to 27 counties that have been majorly damaged, even though there are other counties that have had some damage that we have not gotten to. Eventually, we're going to try to reach every county in the state of Alabama, but we wanted to go to the most severely damaged ones first. This disaster affected this entire state. Even people in the South, those who had been hit by hurricanes in the past, realized the importance of sending help. When I was in Phil Campbell, Alabama, I saw policemen from Montgomery. In Huntsville, the sheriff of Mobile County and many of his deputies were up there in Huntsville. All over the state, people responded. And that's what made me so proud of the state, and that's what made me so proud of the people of Alabama. In fact, as the mayor and I rode with the president on the third day after this disaster took place, we spoke about Alabama, and he asked me, he said, "Governor, tell me about Alabama." I said, "Alabama's the greatest state in the country." He said, "Well, you're supposed to say that. You're the governor." I said, "You wait and watch and see how the people of this state respond to this disaster." And they have responded. All of you have responded. friends and neighbors from all around. Disasters know no color. Disasters know no political parties. Disaster knows only human beings and property that it destroys. And in Alabama, black, white, Democrats, Republicans, we all joined together, helping neighbors. And it's such a wonderful experience as governor to see that. And I am so glad that I told the president that day, and you know what? I think he saw that. And those of you who are from outside the state, you FEMA people, thank you for what you do. But you see it also. Here in Alabama, we take care of each other. In fact, I actually told the president, you know, people in North Alabama are a little bit different. You know, they don't really care about the federal government. And they don't really care about the government, period. They're going to take care of each other. And we needed FEMA's help. And I'm so appreciative of all the help that FEMA has brought to this state. But had we not gotten any help from anybody, we would have still taken care of each other, because that's the way Alabamians do. And we're going to take care of each other, and we're going to love each other, and we're going to care for each other. And we're going to make sure that people are taken care of. By now, we're moving towards a new phase of recovery. But before we get to that, and before I talk about having a safer Alabama, I want to personally thank every person that I challenged in those early days. I challenged our EMA directors, I challenged our mayors, our county commissioners, our sheriffs, because we had conference calls with all of y'all. And you know we did. And we're going to continue to do that as long as we have to, or as long as we need to try to help you answer those questions. But I challenged you to be a leader, because in every community where there is a disaster, you have to have someone to lead. And somebody has to lead on a local level. Everything is local. And when you're responding to a disaster, you have to realize that it's not FEMA who can come in and take care of you. They just assist. It's the locals. And I want to thank you, local people, local leaders who stood up. When I challenged you, you stood up and you have led. And I want to thank you for doing that. You cannot ask, and I know states have done this in the past, and I know we have learned over the years many mistakes that have been made in Katrina and other disasters. You cannot ask the federal government to come in the form of FEMA and the governor, who should be in charge and who is in this state in charge of this disaster. You cannot ask FEMA to come in and take over, and the locals and the state step back and let them do it, because they don't know the people. They don't know the idiosyncrasies of the people in North Alabama who don't even like the federal government. Now, I'm saying this as a joke, and y'all know that, but y'all know you have to know your people. And if you don't understand your people and you don't understand their thinking, you cannot help them. And so it's so important. And so I want to again just thank you so much for the leadership that you have shown, because your leadership and you stepping forward, like Mayor Maddox here in Tuscaloosa, who has done such a fantastic job in this city, and many of others of you all across the state of Alabama, you have done such a wonderful job to step up and take the leadership role. When you do that, you help me. And you have helped me lead through this disaster. Our EMA people have been fantastic. They have worked tirelessly through this, and they've done such a fantastic job in this. Art and Jeff, they have just done a miraculous job in working around the clock making sure that all of the things that need to get done have gotten done.